the Cow Corner, day 10 at the World Cup. It's Prashant and Jatan again. We're trying to cover a few of the matches that has already happened and one key one that's going on right now. By the time this episode is fully edited and out, we would have known a result of a key matchup in Group B. So at the beginning of this World Cup, we thought Group B is fine, Group A is okay, C is chaos, and D is death. B is the one that's explosive right now. But before we look at the key Australia-Sri Lanka match that's kind of halfway right now, as we are recording this, there were a couple of, good matches that happened for me, middle of the night, early morning from a US Eastern Zone point of view. England, Italy, and Afghanistan and UAE. And as, Jatan, as we were talking yesterday, sometimes, quote unquote, we as fans that have followed, especially in last 20, 30 years, teams that have done really well, say India and even other teams, you tend to feel, what's the big deal with Afghanistan UAE match, right? Or England Italy match. No, those folks are going to gain a lot from just playing those World Cup matches. And sometimes crazy things have happened in the past because of weather, because of this and that. These matches can have big impact. So the best thing to do is just to play the match in front of you, the match you're playing right now, be in the moment, almost even philosophically speaking, be in the moment, match awareness. So the two of them that happened, right? England, Italy.
So I guess the morning game was UAE Afghanistan. So did try to catch a bit of that, and it started slow, I guess, for UAE. They lost the captain Mohammad Wasim Ali and even Aryan Sharma, who scored a lot in the previous game.
Yeah.
But so it kind of seemed like a one-way traffic. But then Alishan and Sohaib had different ideas, right? These two are the other guys who played well in one of the two previous games. So they actually gave some momentum in the middle, and a middling score 160. But at Delhi, you never know. It might also be okay if you bowl well. And interestingly, at one point, I thought there's an upset brewing because Afghanistan started pretty lackluster. They lost Rahmatullah Gurbaz right at the top. And again, it seemed as if they were probably slightly cocky. The shot that Rahmatullah Gurbaz played to Junaid Siddiqui, kind of, some cockiness there. But whatever. I mean, I don't want to label that, but it seemed that he probably just went for the shot too early. Out on a 0. One of the best players in the last game against South Africa, but he's out on a 0. And Jatan did stay put for a while, but at some point, right, they were 3 down, needing 90 runs and 60 balls. So I was like, okay, if they lose a couple here.
Yeah. Because Jatan, so remember we have talked about if you're chasing 200, then you're all in. 160 is one of those, you got to hit 8 runs and over. You feel you got to go really push. As Siddharth puts it, get ahead and stay ahead in the power play. But if you falter, if you lose few wickets, then you don't know which way to go. And the net run rate, not net run rate, the required run rate, keeps climbing up. So 160 is a bit tricky target.
Yeah, it's still 8 runs and over. But and it went to 9 and 3 wickets down, right? Especially with Rahmatullah also gone and Gulbadin also gone. So, but I guess Azmatullah, he's kind of in the form of his life, right? He bowled well to get 4 wickets, and then he steered the chase. So at
another
the end of
4 for. Another 4 for.
Another 4 for. Now maybe we need a 5 for in the tournament, right? So of course, at the end of the day, the 19.2 overs they got to 162. But again, at one point, they did need 14 and 8 or something. Then it was kind of a romp at the end. But it got a bit tricky. But I guess their experience helped. So nothing too much to write about here. At the end of the day, pretty easy win for Afghanistan, relatively easy win, but it got interesting in the middle.
So what do you think? This is me totally speculating. Afghanistan, after they lost their match against South Africa, do you think as a team you feel, what's the point? Or they don't? They are just like, hey, we got to go and finish as strong as we can. What do you think, actually? Because if, I don't know, there is a temptation, right, at some point to be either go really hot and try too much, or go really cold and say, I always thinking about what could have been.
Yeah. No, I think they're probably professional enough to not think that way.
Yeah.
Eventually,
Mm.
they don't want to have a record in their name that they've lost to UAE or one of
Yeah,
the
that's true.
lower teams.
That's
But
true.
and also like losing to New Zealand and South Africa might be pardoned, but not UAE, so there might be
Yeah.
heads rolling. So I don't
Yeah.
think they would
Correct.
probably do
Correct.
that.
True.
But it
Mm.
it could be demotivating for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah. And then England and Italy. Not
That's
in the soccer World Cup again. Again, Italy. I don't think have officially qualified yet. They're still
not yet.
fighting through
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
England, Italy in a cricket World Cup.
Another funny game that England had played, right? At one point, 5 for 105 in the 13th over. You are worried, and Tom Banton got out at that point, and you're thinking, okay, we have Sam Curran and Will Jacks batting with already Harry Brook also out, so you're worried as an English supporter, you're worried like what's the total that you're going to get to. Thankfully, Will Jacks came came through in clutch, and they've got a really good player, Sam Curran, right? He's the guy who saved the Nepal game, and that Nepal game was also
Yeah.
kind of almost out of the.
Yep.
And this time
Right.
with the bat, he hit a couple of sixes, got to 25 in 19 balls, and they both together got them to 200, beyond 200. At one point, seemed like I was like thinking if 150 is what they're going to get, a 160, 65. So
Yeah.
again, good rear guard, but then did they leave it for too late, right? 5 down, and what if Will Jacks got out? I mean, of course, always, as I say, hindsight is 2020. But yeah, it got interesting again. But I guess once they reach 200, it's
Jatan,
probably not.
some of the things you have said during these conversations is still resonate in my head. You mentioned, is your plan B starts after 5 outs, right? For England when you're 5 down,
I
just
know,
the
seriously,
batting
right?
order wise. And one other thing I'll say is Will Jacks also played well against match against Nepal. So the number 7
Yeah,
actually is a pretty
is bailing them
key.
out.
Um,
It is key,
yeah,
but isn't it too late to bail
true,
yourself out? Like,
true.
what if he doesn't
Yeah,
click, one of these games?
correct,
But
correct.
yeah,
No,
he did, and I'm sure they have him there for a reason. He also
yeah, yeah,
bowls right. So once it was 200, past 200, it was, you would think that Italy would probably not even make a game out of it. But guess what?
yeah,
Ben Manenti, right, got a 60 of
yeah,
25 with 6 sixes and 4 fours. So at one point, right, they were actually by the time this guy Manenti got out, they were still 114 in 12 overs, which is like almost the run rate was almost up there.
yeah,
And then Justin Mosca also contributed. He kind of was the anchor there. But
yeah,
yeah, but then once Mosca got out, you would again think that they're gone. But Grant Stewart had other ideas, right? So I remember I saw one point where they needed 17 runs per over for the last 3 or 4 overs, and he eventually got the equation down to 30 and 2, right? He had some
mm,
massive sixes there, 5 sixes. So the match was definitely not over until the second last over. But yeah, I guess again, Sam Curran bowled the penultimate over, and he
yeah,
again got Stewart out. So
yeah.
again, another classic
What he
act
did
from
against Nepal.
Sam Curran. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah, yeah,
that run,
yeah,
that over was only 4 runs, got that wicket, 4 or 5 runs, and got that wicket. And then after that, the equation was just obviously
yeah,
too
yeah.
hard,
Wow.
especially with Stewart gone. So again, probably again on paper, it was how much?
24
Yeah, 24
runs.
runs.
Yeah,
But it was interesting. It was 30 overs, 30 runs and two wickets, 2 overs remaining with Stewart at 5 sixes, right? So he
yeah,
eventually scored 45 and 23. I mean, a couple of more hits and things could have been really
yeah.
interesting. But then that's probably the difference. That's the difference usually in these games, right? The
Correct.
differences are very small, unless it's India and Pakistan playing. I had to say that.
No, for sure. And it's interesting, right? Because again, couple of swings of the bat, 6 and a 4 gives you 10 runs in 2 balls. So at times the required run rate is also a bit misleading. If you need to
Yeah,
hit 12 runs and over for 20 overs, that's different than
that's hard.
12
Yeah,
runs and over for 2 or 3 overs, right? Especially with
exactly.
at least 3 wickets, 3, 4 wickets in hand. So that's why if you
Yeah.
have a 7 and 8 batter who can hit either side, again, going back to our conversation about Nepal and England, you need people to be confidently hitting on either side, 7 and 8. Then you can continuously put pressure. They could be wide, there could be no balls like happened against Afghanistan and South Africa. So all kinds of stuff can happen. At one point, Jatan, I had tried to make an argument that matches 20 run is not a close enough match. Um, but then Siddharth kind of made a good argument against it that you cannot just. It's hard to say, hey, 20-run match or 25-run defeat is not close because it could easily be. One over is a game changer, right?
Yeah. Couple of hits
5%.
and you get
That's
12 runs, right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Like in
all
this game also,
kinds.
right? Uh, they lost the last three because once Grant Stewart got out, the other two also got out on
Yeah,
the same. So they were 178 for seven. Grant Stewart was in great form. They needed 24 of the last eight,
yeah,
and Stewart went for it, and he got an outside edge, which the ball went directly to the short third man. One meter here or there, it would have been a four, right? And then
yeah.
the equation would have been
Correct.
7 balls and 22. And if it goes beyond below 20, right, in the last over, anything can happen, right?
Yeah,
So especially if he
correct.
was
Correct.
had he been there. So yeah, it was still. I think Italy made a match of it. I mean, kudos to them. It was a pretty
Yeah,
good game from by their standards, and
yeah,
they're actually probably the most impressive new team that I've seen amongst say
yeah,
UAE or Namibia or Canada or Nepal also, right? They have
yeah.
probably
Oman.
done the
Yep.
best. Yeah, Oman and
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Scotland also. So
Because they
pretty
came
good.
at the
Great
back of.
debut. Yeah,
Correct. And they
Great
came
debut actually.
as a back of their 10-run win, right? So
Right.
as we were talking
Yeah.
yesterday, sometimes the teams go up and down. As long as they try to stay it consistent, I looked at the score and I'm like, yeah, the Italy chased and they scored 178, which is
Yeah. This actually the score
9 runs
doesn't.
and over.
Harry Brook again would not have been comfortable, at least not till the
Yeah,
18th over. So
correct, correct.
it was never
And that's
comfortable.
why smaller innings, right? Smaller contribution. Like just quickly before we wrap up, even India Pakistan match, the hand Dubey and Rinku Singh played,
Yeah.
they make a difference. If you add them up between them, they I think scored. I'm just going off of memory, but 150, 160 strike rate and scored about 40 runs between them,
Yep.
which is a difference in the match.
Especially on
So
that pitch. Yeah. Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. So if you are able to get couple of blows, fours and a six, so that could change the equation quickly. Yeah, this Australia Sri Lanka match. Let's see how that shapes up. I'll touch base with Siddharth later when he has time and see if he has any, what his thoughts would be. Anything else, Jatan, to wrap up or before we wrap up?
No, nothing. Just that my new favorite is Italy. I've dropped Nepal.
That
Just kidding.
sounds
But
great.
yeah,
That
I'll
sounds great.
follow both their fortunes for sure
Yep.
as we go
And we
along
should
after
we
even
should
after the World Cup.
as we talked yesterday, we should think about the associates 11, what that team
Yeah,
would
we
look
should
like. I think
definitely
that
we should
could be
pick
our
that up.
homework and to see how that would shape up against the eventual World Cup winners. Anyway, so if nothing else, I think let's wrap up part one. This is the Cow Corner and Prashant and Jatan. Cheers.
Yep.
Good night.
Bye.
This is day 10 at the World Cup, part two. Prashant and Siddharth. As we had said in our part one, there is a big match that was in progress that got concluded. And what happened in that match? Obviously, the big news of day 10 is a specific match. But Siddharth, before we get into it, anything specific you want to mention about the associate team match or matches?
Yeah, I mean, I think Italy, really great job. Even in a losing effort today, I think they really kept their composure. Looked like a real cricket team out there. Looked very
Nice.
competitive all the way to the end. Um, and yeah, I was just very impressed by their performance, especially after losing their captain in the first couple overs of the first match.
Hmm.
It didn't really seem like they let that affect them too much. They continued playing the same way as they had when he was on the pitch. So I think great World Cup by Italy. Of course, the results maybe not necessarily there. They did get their first win, of course, which is commendable. And yeah, I mean, I think they were really impressive, more impressive than I think many expected coming into it.
Yeah, and especially when you saw, England scoring 202, sometimes you would be like, oh, that's unsurmountable. But this is, me sitting in my living room thinking all that kind of stuff. The Italian players they mean business, right? So they actually plan to chase it down. It came pretty
Even
close.
yeah, like yeah, and even in England's batting innings, they had England on the ropes a bit until Will Jackson, Jamie Overton kind of
Yeah,
finished off
exactly.
the game. So they got Harry Brook out for 14 runs.
Yeah.
All of the players had starts, but none of them really stuck around except for Will Jacks, playing a really crucial role there at the end.
Again,
But yeah. So I think if Italy had gotten maybe a little bit more support from the top order, they had a really good chance of chasing. But of course, 200 is always tough. Everything really has to go right.
actually, it's interesting if some of these things, the English, the bowling weakness, some of the vulnerabilities for other teams, whether they can get exposed, amplified during Super 8. So, interestingly, is just thinking out loud. A lot of these Super 8 matches are also, I'm sure, a lot of data for those analysts to look at what's going on, right? As they prepare for Super 8. So, of course, the other match, the Group B, to be or not to be, right? We are getting into a Shakespearean mode right now with
Yeah,
a
definitely a story of such tragedy. Maybe a bit of a dark tragedy brewing in Group B there. Tragedy
yeah,
or glee, depending on your perspective on
yep.
Australia's cricket team.
Some of the comedy of errors also,
Yeah.
for some other matches, but what a performance by one of the host nations, Sri Lanka, against Australia. I mean, just to get into it, when Head and Mitchell Marsh was going great guns, and I was shaking my head, sitting there thinking, "Oh my God, this is just going to keep going on and on and on and on and on." And Australia is going to go score 200 plus, and we have seen this movie before, and we know how it ends. But then Sri Lanka had a completely different thing in their mind. It was really, I think, after a long time, and I haven't seen a lot of Sri Lanka matches, but to see that team both on the field and meaning fielding and bowling and batting, just that entire unit firing together was fun, right, Siddharth?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think all the credit to Sri Lanka pulling back Australia after they scored, 70 runs in the power play.
Yeah,
Um, it seemed that Australia was well on their way for a 200 plus score, and even 181 seemed a big total on that wicket. But as we discussed, Australia's kind of lack of specialist spinners, right? Only carrying one in Adam Zampa, who again was quite ineffective in this match. Nathan Ellis, once again, quite ineffective in this match. The fact that Australia was bowled out, I mean, albeit I think pretty much on the last delivery, while Sri Lanka only lost 2 wickets, Australia was only able to take 2 Sri Lankan wickets the entire innings. I mean, there was a bit of dew in this match, so
mm.
that definitely affected the second innings batting. But still, I mean, Australia's lack of wicket-taking bowlers once again exposed in this match after being exposed against Zimbabwe, who also scored their 160, I believe, with only a loss of 2 wickets. So
Yeah.
really, in both the matches that really counted, they missed their key wicket takers really, really badly.
Yeah, and what's interesting is we had also talked about this one aspect of momentum. When Australia finished their batting, the momentum was clearly with with Sri Lanka, right?
Yeah.
So the score definitely matters. It matters even more. Actually, what matters even more is the momentum, right? So just think out loud. Had Australia been struggling, and if they finished 180, like finished very strong, you come out to field mentally feeling very differently than if you initially thought you are on target for 200 and you only make 180 odd,
180.
then yeah, you feel like, oh man, did we miss out? So
Yeah.
you
I
know,
mean,
yeah,
all credit to Patam Nissanka as well. He kind of peaked at the right moment during the match, right?
yeah,
Dropping Glenn Maxwell's catch, but then taking a catch even Glenn Phillips would have been proud at backward point in the
yeah,
following over. And then
absolutely.
just coming out pretty much flawless innings, 100 runs exactly of 52 deliveries, 10 fours, 5 sixes, strike rate of 192, absolute control of everything. Again, the due would have definitely been to his benefit, but still, of course, losing the other opener at 1 for 3, right? So a lot of credit has to also go to Kusal Mendes for
Yep.
playing a big supporting role in that chase. But Pratham Nissanka, you beauty, top total of this World Cup so far. Like well done, mate, in the big game. Sri Lanka is now through to the Super 8s, and Australia is
On the ropes.
yeah, it's on the ropes.
Pretty much done. But
Yeah.
a couple of things that popped in my head during that match is Australia seemed to like I vividly remember one almost like a not even an uppercut six, almost like a jab six that Nissanka hit to Stoinis, I think, or actually no, either Stoinis or Ellis, and it was a pace on delivery. And I'm
Mhm.
thinking, why are you bowling pace on here? And that over actually kind of sealed it for them, like
Yeah.
an uppercutish. And I don't even want to think it's an uppercut because it was almost like a jab. But such beautifully timed six by Nissanka. So he played some like scintillating shots. Also, actually, a couple of Zampa overs. I think Kusal Mendes played one of those in a cow corner location shots. You see a lot of force actually hit between the deep mid wicket and deep mid on. So really sensible batting. They had to keep up with the net run, not net run rate, the required run rate, but not lose wickets. So I'll just tell you one tidbit. In my head, when I was watching the chase, I said, if Sri Lanka doesn't lose their second wicket until they reach 100, I thought that will be a key thing. Like just mentally, you're like, oh, we are 100 plus and we only one wicket down. So very
Yeah.
clinical performance, and they actually overcame the drop of Maxwell's catch, right? So
Yeah.
that looked like I was like, oh no, this is another, one catch making all the difference. But then Nissanka actually had other plans.
Yeah. I think
Yep.
again, once again, just the other thing I have to say is Australia's batting order once again just didn't make any sense. How is
Hmm.
Tim like? Why the heck is Tim David coming out in like the 10th over and the 11th over, right?
Hmm.
You want him to come in when Cooper Connolly was coming. That was one of my key takeaways was when Tim David came out, in the 10th or 11th over and got out promptly in the 13th over.
Yeah.
Um, and then after that, when Maxwell got out in the 17th over and was replaced by, I believe, Stoinis or Cooper Connolly, that is when I realized I was like, why is Tim David coming in the 13th over and not now in the 17th over, right? Tim
Yeah.
David isn't a great player of spin. He's a player that wants pace on the ball, something that he can just time up and hit for six.
Hmm.
And in the middle overs, what the spinner is bowling, like how is he? That isn't setting up him to succeed against spinners, against slow bowlers, right?
Hmm.
He needs to be batting in the depth against the Pacers, where he has the best chance to hit sixes. And I think throughout the tournament, Australia really didn't give Tim David the correct role. Neither
Hmm.
Josh Inglis, nor Marcus Stoinis, nor Glenn Maxwell. It seemed like they preferred them as finishers to Tim David when Tim David is the ultimate finisher. It just
Yeah.
seemed like Australia's batting lineup throughout this tournament had a very lack of roles that seemed, cohesive. And I think their batting lineup again was just confused, didn't know when to go big, didn't know when to stick around. I think
Yeah.
really played to their detriment.
I think only two people who looked completely locked in was Travis Head and Mitchell Marsh. And you thought, man, if they play another 5 overs, it's trouble. So, yeah, I mean, Travis Head got out in the ninth over, and I was thinking when I was watching him bat, I was like, if he goes past 10 overs, it's problem, because he's not going to just stay there, right? He's going to be hitting.
Yeah.
He had some really good shots as well. But all the credit to Sri Lanka to have that chase. It was a clinical performance. Yeah, and it was tough. I mean, it was a classic, T20 match thriller to watch. And as such, maybe as specific fans, I didn't have a dog in the fight. But then we still had a dog in the fight. We were rooting for Sri Lanka, because when Nissanka came to bat, I was like, man, some of the shots he was hitting was awesome, actually.
Mhm.
So, great to see. Now, actually, like tomorrow's match is Zimbabwe-Ireland is a key match to see. I mean, Zimbabwe has to really falter now not to make Super 8s.
Yeah, they just need to win, don't they? They just need to win against Ireland, and the last match becomes inconsequential.
Correct. They have to win one of those two matches.
Yeah.
And not leave it to like losing two and then think about net run rate. All that stuff would be too much. But you never know. So, and Super 8's actually picture seems pretty clear now. One of the groups is going to be, India now, maybe most likely Zimbabwe instead of Australia. South Africa. Tough group. Yeah, and West Indies, exactly. So India, West Indies.
Doesn't really get much easier for Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
Against three informed teams, right? In India, South Africa, and Windies, all three teams firing on all cylinders. Zimbabwe, to their credit, also playing well, but you wouldn't expect them to make it out of that group.
Yeah, we'll see. Actually, the other side would be England, New Zealand, Sri Lanka. Now, one of the hosts, definitely, and
then
Pakistan, of course.
Yeah. Or USA. Pakistan. Let's see.
Namibia. USA. So awesome. Yeah, I think that. Anything else in that to point
that's it.
No. Awesome. So we wrapping up day 10 at the World Cup, and obviously the big news of the day is Sri Lanka beating Australia, and Australia being on the ropes, and like really have nothing in their hand per se to potentially save their campaign. So let's maybe sign off, and until next time.
Thank you, all the listeners. Keep leaving your comments. Keep downloading the podcast. Keep making fun of the podcasters. And keep loving cricket.
Again, this is Prashant and Siddharth.
See ya.
Signing off. So long.
This episode was produced by Mukta Phatak. Music by Joe Reynolds.